Okay, we are live. It is 12:43 in the morning, 2/18/2024. So that's technically Sunday morning. A couple of things we're going to go over tonight. The Audrii Cunningham disappearance. I'm going to go over the Adam Montgomery testimony this week. A little bit about Rachel Morin and a cold case in Fort Wayne. So let me. And if I can, I'm going to try to go over the timeline in Delphi again, but we'll see. A lot to cover tonight. So hope everybody's having or had a good week and a good weekend so far. It's absolutely freezing out, probably 4 or 5 degrees, maybe. So let's pull up my intro and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back. My friend is here. Southern Gal True Crime is here. Thank you for coming in. Southern Gal, sorry I couldn't get in touch with you this week about doing the live together, but it's just been a crazy, crazy week here. A lot of things going on. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, when you go cheap, it can't be that good, right? What are you going to do? What are you gonna do? All right, so what I'm going to do is get right to it. I came on, I did a shout out on this a couple days ago, this missing girl down in Texas. So we'll start with that since it's a little bit more uh, uh, important at this very second. So if anybody hasn't heard about this. I'll put a ticker up here pretty soon. Um, so a couple of days ago, this missing Audrii Cunningham from Livingston didn't get on the school bus. So I did a community thing about this because there was an Amber Alert issued for her. And I'll bring up the map soon about this. But anyways, and strangely enough, I'd been following it for a little while, and then I clicked on it again and found out that the girl was found, but it turned out it was a different person that was found um, in another part of Texas. It was a 12-year-old instead of the 11-year-old. So now we're back on this. So let me just give you. Actually, I'll share this here. Give me a second here. We'll read this together. So this, I believe, this was done on Thursday. Let's see. No, this was done. This was done on the 15th, and it was updated on the 17th, which is yesterday. And there she is. This is Audrii Cunningham. That's her. So let's read this here. An Amber Alert was issued for an 11-year-old girl who didn't get on the school bus in her Livingston area neighborhood on Thursday morning. Authorities are searching for 11-year-old Audrii Cunningham, who was reported to have been last seen around 7 a.m. near her home in the 100 block of Lakeside Drive. So let me pull that up, and then we'll continue reading here. All right, so let me. I was looking into it, and then I must have punched up the wrong Amber Alert because there was a 12-year-old. I think it was in Dallas, the Dallas area, that was found. She was in a motel or something like that, or that other missing person was in a motel, and they had blocked the name of the person. So let's. But this one here is still missing. So let me. So this is where she went missing here. This is 100 Lakeside Drive here. And I'll continue reading. So this is where she was supposed to get on the bus. Texas DPS reports they are actively searching for Audrii and have identified persons of interest. This must have been new. Texas DPS Lieutenant Craig Cummings says the area they are searching is location of interest, and authorities will continue the search on Saturday. So that was this was done before Saturday. Authorities of the Polk County Sheriff's Office, Audrii was supposed to have caught the school bus in her neighborhood, but school officials say the bus didn't pick her up and she never made it to school. All right, so let's watch this here. Get out of here. I always like to give people a little bit of a kind of like a background of where we are here. This is so let's play this here. Yeah, I think they arrested somebody. So this is an advertisement. So we'll skip this here because I already have tires.
I wanted to provide some investigative updates at this point right now. My name is Lieutenant Craig Cummings, CRAIG.
Let me know if everybody can hear this.
CUNNINGS, spokesperson for the Texas Department of Public Safety, and here speaking on behalf of the Polk County Sheriff at his request. I'm joined by Polk County Sheriff Byron Lyons, Polk County District Attorney Shelley Sitton, San Jacinto County Sheriff Greg Capers, and then Polk County Precinct 2 Constable Bill Cunningham. The location that we're at right now is a location of interest. In a little while, you're going to see investigators leaving this scene. We will be back tomorrow. We will have deputies here to protect this location and the investigative efforts that have been uncovered up to this point.
No, this
We
isn't it.
are asking the public to stay away from this area.
Oh.
And then tomorrow, we're going to have additional resources that will be on hand to help find Audrii. And I want to reiterate that we are committed to bringing Audrii home. That's the reason why you see the collaborative effort here right now, all these law enforcement agencies, to include the FBI, that have been assisting with this. And we're asking the public to report any tips that they think will help us bring Audrii home to the Polk County Sheriff's Office or through our iWatch Texas app. And that can be done anonymously from your phone. So with that, I open it up for questions. We're protecting the investigative efforts. So this is a ongoing investigation. And so the investigators are doing an exceptionally good job at gathering information. And so that's what we're going to be protecting as they continue their work. Yeah, we don't want to go any farther than the investigative tools that we're using right now, and then investigative leads that they've uncovered. This is a very fluid and active investigation with the sole focus.
Hey, buddy, it's Mr. Steve. Mr. Steve is up. Hey, buddy, I caught your live earlier. Very, very good work on that bullet. Awesome job.
Of bringing Audrii home. We're not releasing that information now. Investigators are working on multiple ways that they are looking at that type of information. But right now, we're not releasing it.
I always feel like I have to ask a question when I'm on your live because everybody's asking questions and being pretty serious. And I'm pretty serious too, but I always feel like I have to ask some sort of a question. So that's why I asked the question about the weather. Especially with all the ground freezing up there. But anyways, let's get back to this here.
This is a location of interest. And so that's the reason why we've got the effort. That's why we have the dogs here. That's the reason why the boats have been here. All of this in an effort to find Audrii. And our prayers are certainly tonight and then tomorrow morning. And we ask for the public as well that Audrii is brought home safe. Yes, we have persons of interest in this case, and we have been at other locations. This is a location of interest where we're putting our investigative efforts right now. That would be a question for the FBI. Okay, and that is a typical thing that will happen. All the available resources that we can bring out here to help this. The FBI has a tremendous asset that they bring to the table, and we're very appreciative of all of their efforts. So this is just one more tool that investigators are using to find Audrii. I know that term implies that. We're not drawing any conclusions right now. We still have a lot of information that we are going through. And so there's a lot of leads the investigators are following now. We're not releasing that information. Well, we don't know. But I can say that the DA is here, the sheriffs are here, because this is a collaborative effort. The DA brings a very particular set of skills that's essential for us as investigators to get the job done. So
I'll tell you one thing, man. This is everybody's worst nightmare. This is, if you're a parent, this is not good here.
Of her being here, working with us, so that we can make sure that all of the I's are dotted and T's are crossed in this investigation. It's just due to the dark. So it's dark. We're not going to put boats in the water. But this also gives us an opportunity to regroup and then look at the information that we've got throughout the night and then come back out tomorrow. Right, right. Yeah. We're just not going any farther than that right now. And so we are asking the public to stay away from the area. But that's as far as we can go there. Yeah, there are law enforcement drones that have been here. We are bringing in divers as well. Again, this is all an effort to uncover additional leads that will help bring Audrii home. Yeah, no, that's great. We don't want to give away any areas, but if people would review their cameras, if they find something suspicious that they think would warrant the help of investigators or a review by our investigators, by all means, please call the Polk County Sheriff's Office. And if it's an emergency, call 911 so that we can evaluate that information. That's a great question. Mm. Yeah, well,
See, this is the thing. Like, these reporters, they got their job to do and stuff like that. But pretty sure they're not going to tell a lot of people a lot of shit. They're just looking for, come out with a press conference here to say they're working on this case here. But let me, I'm going to go here to the map again because I hate maps. And, so let's go here. I had the wrong map up before, of course. So this is the area of interest here. This is Lake Livingston. I know a couple of days ago they were at a dam around here last. I knew searching in this area here. Let me just pull that dam up. Right in here. So they're out here. I think it was Thursday. But I think they called off the search around here. So let's go back to this. On a second. I got way too many windows open here. So let's go back to this interview here. I've seen this one. So
unfortunately, right now, there just isn't more information that we can give.
This could be where they're at right now. I doubt it, but I know they were at that dam earlier in the week.
Like I explained in the press conference earlier, we're trying to protect the integrity of this investigation, and that's the reason why. And I can understand the public's concern that we're not giving out a lot of information, but the end here is to find Audrii and bring her home, and so that's what we're focused on right now. And so there's additional information out there. We're just not releasing it.
Yeah, I mean, you want to have hope that this is going to end well. And I mean, I don't even want to say either way at this point, but after it goes, how long has it been? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, tomorrow will be Sunday. So, I mean, stranger things have happened. I don't know how long that kid was missing up in New York a few months ago, but, as time goes by, it doesn't look good.
That's what the investigators are using to follow up on. That's additional information that we're not releasing right now. But again, we continue with investigative leads and following these things.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. Water doesn't do a body good, sure.
I know that there are a lot of questions that remain unanswered. We are absolutely searching to get this information so that we can get it to you and get it to the public. But our first priority has to be this investigation right now. That's the reason why we're here. And that's the reason why we'll be back here early tomorrow morning in hopes that we find Audrii soon. We haven't decided on the time. It's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of daybreak.
Do they draw straws to like see who does the press conferences, or I don't know? Because I mean, some of these guys, like this guy's really good. Some of the guys they have. I know in the Delphi case they had Riley at first, and then he kept screwing up. So then they went to Doug Carter.
So families still being cooperative, like you said a few hours ago? Yes. Yeah, families being cooperative, and we certainly appreciate them, and we appreciate the community.
Could you imagine Steve doing a press conference?
As well. Everyone has been exceptionally helpful in the efforts out here. So we appreciate that. With that, we're going to close it down. You'll see some investigators leaving here shortly, but they'll be back tomorrow morning. So with that, I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Okay, so this was done, I believe this was done yesterday. Not sure, but train course. So you don't really, they can't just put somebody out in front and say, hey, you do it. Low man on the totem pole type thing. All right, so let's go. We're going to go here. This was done, I know this was done 9 hours ago, so we'll go right to this one here. Actually, let's do this one first, because this is, give me a second here, because I know there was a vehicle of interest, and then we'll get to Rachel Morin. She's been in the news again. Let's do this here. He was banned from doing interviews. Stop it. I was banned from doing interviews. Interesting story. Every one of Steve's stories is interesting. All right, so let's go to this one here. Where the hell was I? Right here. All right, so this was done 14 hours ago. Well, they had Texas EquiSearch down there, and they were looking for her in the lake. Not good. All right.
Audrii Cunningham is still missing. The massive search to find her continues this morning near Lake Livingston. New this morning, officials have released an image of a vehicle of interest. Katira Winfrey is live in Polk County with the newest details. Katira, what have you learned out there this morning?
Well, Cheryl, the search area here near Boer Marina is starting to fill up. EquiSearch is here along with several other law enforcement agencies, all desperate to find this little girl. And now this morning, we've officially reached past 48 hours since that little girl has gone missing. Now, here's a look at a vehicle of interest. It's a 2003 dark blue Chevy Suburban. Officials believe it's some way connected to the missing girl. Now, this morning, search areas is looking really similar to what we saw yesterday as crews looked for clues. Officials say Audrii went missing on her way to school. Family later learned she never got on the bus or made it to school. And so far, investigators call the search location an area of interest, and that's what led them here. KHOU spoke to Audrii's mom here. Hear what she had to say.
She has so many opportunities ahead of her, and she deserves every right to be able to reach those opportunities. She should be at home where we know she's safe and she's warm and she's fed, and she should be with her little brother. She should be.
This stuff here, man. This is I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. These poor people.
Doing what Audrii does, smiling, laughing, making everybody else smile and laugh.
And the mother said Audrii lives with her dad, her grandmother, and another man, and says that man allegedly dropped her off at the bus stop Thursday morning. However, investigators so far haven't given any suspect information, but we'll update you throughout the day as we learn more. For now, reporting live in Polk County.
So they just drop. Is that normal? I used to stay with my kids at the bus. I never left them. I don't know if that's normal though. All right, let's do this here. It's going to be silent, but this is a chopper over the lake. So they had a chopper out here. When was this? A day ago. See, I was right. They had on Friday, a search was launched in probably going to butcher this, Jacinto County near Lake Livingston Dam. Investigators were not giving details on why they were searching in this specific area, but says they were actively following leads in the case. Sorry, there's no sound, but I wanted to get a bird's eye view of this lake. This is a big lake. I mean, she could be anywhere in here. Steve. Oh, really? Hey, honeybee, how are you? No, there's no sound to this. Sorry. I just wanted to play this because I wanted to get honeybees in the house. It's cold out, honeybee. It's like 5 degrees out here. There's the dam. So wow. So this must be where they're set up here. Sorry, there's no sound, but this poor kid. Yeah, it was pretty slick the other night. What was it? When did we get that? We got like 3 or 4 inches the other night. And it was just awful. Of course, I need more tires. No, I don't know, honeybee. I just know that this is this was done on the 16th, so they had a helicopter out here, but they've been looking around this lake dam thing for a couple of days now. I wish I could get a good view from this helicopter of the entire. Here we go. Yep, this looks like Texas. There's a trail here. And if I know Texas like I know Texas, this water, you don't want to go in this water here. All right, so let me wanted to. We're going to go to the piece of dog shit pretty soon, but I just wanted to cover this. All right, we'll do this here. I'm done with this helicopter here. Seems like they're looking at a specific area here, though. Imagine the stuff they got in here. Yeah, it seems like they're specifically focused on one area here. All right, so we'll go to this one here. Let me go here. This is just, it just sucks. Yes. All right, this is coming from, so this is Audrii Cunningham here. It's a sad thing. 11 years old. Like I said earlier, when I came on, I came out with this a couple days ago, and then I checked back in on it when I got up during the day, but I must have punched in the wrong missing person, because there was another 12-year-old that they actually found in Austin, Texas, I think, and she was in some sort of a motel. So I thought they found this one here, but must have been somebody else. So 11 years old, Lakeside Drive, Livingston, Texas. I got the map up still. Black hoodie, camo backpack, black pants, ready to go to school. So let's play this here.
And it has been nearly 20.
This was done 14 hours ago, I think.
24 hours since anyone has seen 11-year-old Audrii Cunningham. Take a good look at your screen right now. She was last seen wearing a black hoodie with white lettering and black pants on Lakeside Drive in Livingston. She also had a camo backpack. If you have seen Audrii or know where she is, please call the Polk County Sheriff's Office.
So my name is Lieutenant Craig Cummings. I'm a spokesperson for the Texas Department of Public Safety. This afternoon, here at the request of the Polk County Sheriff. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to be at this press conference, but he remains actively engaged in this investigation and helping bring this little girl home. So I want to update the media and the community about what we've got thus far. So around 5:30 p.m. yesterday, the family reported Audrii missing when she didn't get off the bus. Investigators learned that she didn't get on the bus yesterday morning, further prompting concerns. So they reached out to the Polk County, family reached out to the Polk County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff's Office contacted.
Do buses have, I'd have to ask my wife. I think buses actually have, they might actually, I mean, depending on how new the buses are, I think buses have cams on them now. Not sure.
Texas Department of Public Safety, and an Amber Alert was issued soon after it was requested yesterday. Investigators are actively speaking with persons of interest in this particular case. They are asking for.
One thing I want to shout out is Southern Gal True Crime. Southern Gal is absolutely amazing, remarkable. She does great lives. I just was on her live earlier tonight, but I had a whole bunch of other shit to do. I had to let the dogs out. I had to put another light bulb in my car. But I did catch most of it. She does great work. Go check her out. And Steve, of course, everybody knows Steve. Hey, buddy. Hey, Frosty, what's up, man? Are you working? Yeah, Southern Gal is light years ahead of me, that's for sure. But check her out; she's great.
Any information that can help find her. And that information can be submitted by calling the Polk County Sheriff's Office, submitted through our iWatch Texas app, or if it's an emergency nature, calling 911. At this point, no tip is too small. So if you've got information that could be helpful, we're absolutely asking you to help. Investigators also are actively following leads in this case as well. They're also working with Crime Stoppers so that they can try to get an award put together. The FBI is also assisting in this investigation, as they do with several Amber Alerts. Our Texas Rangers are here assisting with the investigation, along with the Polk County Sheriff's Office, San Jacinto County Sheriff's Office. This is really an all-hands-on-deck case. We're actively following leads. And so that's exactly what we're doing here now. We've got boats that are in the water, and we've also got dogs that are down there as well. Our hope is that with all the equipment that we're bringing in here, that we can bring her home safely.
Who are some of the people of interest?
Right now, we're not getting into that. This is still a very active and fluid investigation, and so investigators are actively involved in getting information that will help bring Audrii home.
Her and the think tank, Frankie from Canada, she's great too. Very good people. Honeybee has a channel too. If you have channels, you can post them in here. I don't have a problem with that at all. Mainly because I don't feel like doing it. So no, just if you have channels, you can post them in here. Not a problem.
What's that? At this point, we can say investigators are actively following leads, but we can't go any farther than that at this point. We're trying to protect the integrity of the investigation as most we can. The priority.
Where have we heard that before?
Right now is bringing Audrii home.
Is the lead strong enough for you all to be here for several hours? We've seen a dog giving some items to sniff, and that dog immediately took off. Can you kind of share what you all have seen here to keep you here for several hours?
Yeah, so there are several different pieces of information that we are looking at. To say how long we're going to be here really is difficult to say at this point. I know.
Yes, I'm going to be getting back into the Florida thing too, Honeybee. There's just so much other shit going on too. That we got the freaking dick face down in Manchester now on trial. He won't even show up in court. I'll be going over that shortly once I get done this here. But yeah, I will be getting back into Florida soon.
Know that we are going to continue.
Why do I keep saying Florida?
This investigation, be here for as long as we need to do until we have exhausted all the leads that we have uncovered here.
Is this the only location you all are actively searching?
This investigation remains ongoing, and so there are a lot of different things at play right now, but I can definitely say investigators are here concentrated in this area following those leads.
So Audrii has not been found?
No.
The initial info said they believe she would be in grave danger. You guys kind of explain why that might be the case?
We don't want to go any farther than what we've gone thus far. We want to protect the integrity of that investigation, but that's the reason why we're asking for the public to send information in that they think could be relevant in helping get Audrii home safely to her family.
Obviously, we know you don't want to go into details of the investigation, but the neighbors, folks who have been after searching since last night, started speculating about someone might have taken her last seen, possibly seen in a vehicle with someone yesterday, 6:30 before that same. Is there anything you can say on that matter that's kind of been spreading around?
I know there's a lot of information that's out on social media about this. I don't.
Thanks, Southern Gal. Appreciate it.
I want to speculate. I don't want to go into that. That's the role of our investigators right now. And I can tell you that they all have their heart and soul into bringing Audrii home right now. And I want to protect the efforts that they're doing right now to solve this case.
Are there any persons with interest in custody right now?
No. At this point, we're not. We know we've got active leads that we are following, and certainly a person of interest. But
I think they. I don't know. I don't want to be too forwarding, but I'm pretty sure they think. I think they know who took this girl. They just. Who knows? I may be wrong.
That's as far as we'll go on that. Well, persons of interest.
The family give any information as to why the kid didn't get on the bus?
Hey, Jocelyn, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, I know. I don't come out with any hoo-ha when I'm trying to come on live. I don't do like a preamp that I'm coming on. I just come on whenever I feel like it. I know that my schedule changed, so now I'll be doing Saturday night early Sunday mornings instead of Friday night early Saturday mornings. So it works better for me anyways. So good to see you though, Jocelyn. Thank you for coming in.
No, and they may have. I'm not aware of that, and so that's. But I can tell you, it was a concern for the family that she did not get on the bus. It was unexpected, and that's the reason why when she didn't get off the bus, and investigators family learned that she didn't get on, it increased.
I wonder if the bus was in the vicinity, or not.
The concern.
Have you spoken with the father?
Investigators have done that, and they continue to be involved with the family as well.
What I understand about the community, the school specifically, the student doesn't arrive at school, a notification is sent to the parents. Are you aware if a notification was ever sent to a parent that Audrii never made it to school yesterday?
That would be a question for the school district. I don't want to speculate on what they may have done, but I would definitely reach out to them for information. I got about time for two more questions.
I assume the family has been cooperative with the investigation.
Yes. Yeah, the family's been very cooperative. Everybody here, the entire community out here has been nothing but cooperative and helpful. And so I know our prayer.
Like I said, this just sucks. This is every parent's worst nightmare right here.
Collectively are that we bring Audrii home soon.
Do you believe this is an isolated case, or is there an ongoing threat to the community?
No, we don't believe there's an ongoing threat to the community at this point. Our focus right now is on Audrii and bringing her safely home to her family.
What's the condition of the
That's all I've got, but I appreciate it, y'all. Thank you.
That's all I got.
This hour, investigators ending their search for the day for 11-year-old Audrii Cunningham. Officials giving that update just 20 minutes ago.
The family of the girl says she went missing about 5:30 last night. We're talking about up in Polk County. Investigators say they will be back at Lake Livingston, where they've been searching today, as soon as the sun comes up tomorrow. Our reporter, Stephen.
Hold on a minute. Did you say 5:30 at night?
They will be back at Lake Livingston, where they've been searching.
Investigators ending their search for the day for 11-year-old Audrii Cunningham. Officials giving that update just 20 minutes ago.
The family of the girl says she went missing about 5:30 last night. We're talking about up in Polk County. Investigators say they will be back at Lake Livingston, where they've been searching today, as soon as the sun comes up tomorrow. Our reporter, Stephen Goen, has been on the scene since this morning with the latest right now. Stephen.
Just moments ago, the Texas Department of Public Safety telling us this is a continued area.
Yeah, that little dirtbag won't even show up in court. I hate that guy so much. Oh my God. I've been following that trial a lot. I'm a little bit confused here because I thought she went missing in the morning, and now this is KHOU 11 saying she went missing at night.
Of interest in the search for Audrii Cunningham. They say they're still actively following leads, and that is what brought them here to this section of Lake.
This was done yesterday, 2 days ago, actually, at 5 p.m.
Livingston near the dam. Now, we saw a large law enforcement presence here earlier in the day for hours and hours. Officials telling us that Audrii was reported missing last night. She did not get off the school bus, but it turns out she never got on the bus in the morning. Investigators have not characterized it as an abduction. They only say Audrii is missing. Now, officials tell us the search is winding down for today, and they are not searching tonight, but law enforcement will be back here at day.
This is horrible.
Break at this continued place of interest. Take a listen.
This is a location of interest, and so that's the reason why we've got the effort. That's why we have the dogs here. That's the reason why the boats have been here. All of this in an effort to find Audrii.
So there she's 11, 4'1", 75 pounds, blonde, blue eyes. Last seen wearing a black hoodie, backpack. Missing since, so this is, I'm just going to say missing since 7 o'clock on Thursday because this is the thing. So, around the lakeside and lakeshore streets area near the Lake Livingstone State Park. So we're going to go with 7 a.m. on Thursday. So Thursday morning.
Now here's a picture of Audrii that we got from the Polk County Sheriff's Office. She is described as approximately 4'1" with blonde hair and blue eyes. She was last seen wearing black pants, a black hoodie, and a Hello Kitty backpack. Now Audrii's last known location is just a short drive away from here, but they are still searching in many different.
There's certain suspects I can't stand. Adam Montgomery is one of them. And then there was the guy down in Texas, actually, that unalived his son and mistress there. I forget his name, in Laredo, Texas. He was the Border Patrol agent. I can't stand him either.
Places for her, of course, here at this continued place of interest. We are told anyone with information or any tips are encouraged to call the Polk County Sheriff's Office. We're going to watch this search wind down tonight here at the dam. For now, at Lake Livingston, Stephen Golan, back to you.
And breaking tonight, we are hearing from the mother of a missing 11-year-old girl in Polk County.
Audrii Cunningham vanished on the way to school Thursday morning. It triggered an Amber Alert and a major search involving local, state, and federal authorities.
Authorities spent the day looking in an area around Lake Livingston up in Polk County.
Matt Doherty is live tonight at the Polk County Sheriff's Office. Matt, what do we know right now?
So last seen here, and they're searching here.
Now.
Well, enemy authorities will resume their search first thing tomorrow morning. It was halted earlier tonight once it got dark. However, this is still a very active investigation.
David, this is the stuff that you see on TV, and you wonder, you can only imagine what the family and the parents are going through, and there's not words for it.
Through tears, Cassie Matthews, the mother of 11-year-old Audrii.
All right, I'm sorry to do this, but I'm going to go back to the map here again because I got some coordinates now. Okay, so she was, hold on, let me back out a little bit here. So she was dropped off in here somewhere, and then they're searching down in here. Yeah, right at the dam. That's where the dam is. So this is images of the dam. Let's see here. Ooh, look at that. I mean, this looks like a pretty, let's go back here. Anyways, that's where she was, they were searching anyways. All right, let's go back to the this here. Sorry, I just wanted to get. I like to get. I've already been here almost an hour. I like to get bearings of the area because it looks like it's very secluded. So.
Pleaded for help finding her missing daughter tonight.
She was allegedly dropped off at her bus stop, and later on we come to learn that she never even made it on the bus.
Just hours before investigators were playing things close to the vest, letting on that they know more than they're willing to tell the public right now.
And I can understand the public's concern that we're not giving out a lot of information, but
I said this, I think, a couple weeks ago. I have zero respect for anybody that harms a child. Anybody, no respect at all.
the end here is to find Audrii and bring her home.
They haven't said if they found any sort of evidence in the area they spent searching Friday night near Lake Livingston. And despite the rumors in this small town, they won't say if there is a suspect connected to the girl's disappearance. Audrii's mother says her daughter was living with her father, who has custody, as well as her grandmother and another man. Family members tell us that.
Unbelievable. Is that true? Supposedly the father wouldn't let her mother have any visitation with the mother, but he let the roommate with the criminal history against minors live in the same house. Unbelievable. What the hell is wrong with people?
That other man would drive Audrii to the bus stop each morning before school. No one at the family's home would speak with us tonight. Meanwhile, Cassie Matthews says she's devastated.
You feel it's a roller coaster. You're broken. You're mad. You're lost. You're empty. And right now, I'm empty. And I'm not gonna.
This just sucks. This isn't good and possible previous and ongoing abuse. Yeah, this unfortunately this case here reminds me of the case not too long ago up in New York.
I'm not gonna be the same unless my baby is returned to me, and neither is her family, anyone in her family, any of us.
Authorities say that they are speaking to persons of interest tonight. If you have any information on Audrii's disappearance, you're asked to give them a call right away. Back to you.
Hopeful for her safe return. Matt Doherty, thank you.
11-year-old Audrii Cunningham is still missing. The massive search to find her continues this morning near Lake Livingston. New this morning, officials have released an image of a vehicle of interest. Katira Winfrey is live in Polk County with the newest details. Katira, what have you learned out there this morning?
Well, Cheryl, the search area here near Marina is starting to fill up. EquiSearch is here, along with several other law enforcement agencies, all desperate to find this little girl. And now this morning, we've officially reached past 48 hours since that little girl has gone missing. Now, here's a look at a vehicle of interest. It's a 2003 dark blue Chevy Suburban. Officials believe it's some way connected to the missing girl. Now, this morning, search areas is looking really similar to what we saw yesterday as crews looked for clues. Officials say Audrii went missing on her way to school. Family later learned she never got on the bus or made it
Did she say Boa Marina?
to school. And so far, investigators call the search location an area of interest, and that's what led them here. KHOU spoke to Audrii's mom here. Hear what she had to say.
She has so many opportunities ahead of her, and she deserves every right to be able to reach those opportunities. She should be at home where we know she's safe and she's warm and she's fed, and she should be with her little brother. She should be doing what Audrii does, smiling, laughing, making everybody else smile and laugh.
And the mother said Audrii lives with her dad, her grandmother, and another man, and says that man allegedly dropped her off at the bus stop Thursday morning. However, investigators so far haven't given any suspect information.
Steve, you're awesome. Good night, buddy. If anybody doesn't know who Steve True Crime is and Mrs. Steve, go check out Mr. and Mrs. Steve. They are fantastic people. All the respect in the world to both of them. They have a great channel. Steve is definitely an icon in this true crime community for sure. Thank you, Steve.
But we'll update you throughout the day as we learn more. For now, reporting live in Polk County, Katira Winfrey, KHOU 11 News.
Just don't complain about the coffee at a Waffle House if he's there. That's probably not a good idea.
Absolutely heartbreaking to hear the concern in that mother's voice. Thank you so much, Katira.
You might be in protective custody. Me and the Waffle House. All right. So that's that. I mean, I'll keep obviously following this case here. This is just absolutely horrid. It's just a joke. Whoever did this, whoever took her, that's all I can say. All right, so let's go right now to switch gears to the Adam Montgomery trial. We're not going to play all of it, obviously, because it's been, what is this, day 7? But I want to play a couple of these here with this guy here. So let's do this here. All right, hey, buddy. Hey, Dean, how are you? Good to see you, man. Okay, so anybody doesn't know about this case, this guy's on trial for the unaliving and the disappearance of Adam Montgomery. He's already pleaded guilty to moving her and aggravated whatever. But this is I'm not going to watch this whole thing, but this is a couple of the state is having, I think it's like 55 witnesses, and this is the story about the U-Haul. So. So, I mean, the credibility of these witnesses is whatever, but I don't think they've brought a ton of evidence against this guy yet in this case, but I don't think they're going to need a lot. So,
Mr. Beach, if you can stand it up again and just raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're going to provide this jury will be the truth and the whole truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can make yourself comfortable. Have a seat. There's some water in front of you if you'd like some.
And Mr. Beach, I'm just going to remind you that it's a big room and all the jurors need to hear you, so please keep your voice up, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Beach, can you start by stating and spelling your full name for the record?
My name is Travis Beach, Travisbeach.
And Mr. Beach, what city and state do you live in?
I currently live in Concord.
yeah, I agree, Dean. I think she got off easy. I mean, my personal opinion, I think she's got a little bit more to do with this than people think she does. But I don't know. They had to do something because he wasn't talking.
New Hampshire.
So this is one of his buddies here.
And how long have you been a New Hampshire resident?
All my life, 39 years.
You're 39 years old?
Yes, sir.
And are you currently employed?
Yes, sir.
How are you employed?
I work at EB Metals in Bow, New Hampshire.
And what do you do for them?
There's studs, RC. It's.
Yeah, I'm going to try to play that next. The forensics guy there from the Florida lab. I think it was the Florida lab. They had 55. They're calling 55 witnesses. I forget what they're at now. And then the defense, I think, has 2. But one thing about this case is the defense attorney, the lady there, she's pretty smart. But I think, I don't know. Juries are juries, man. But I don't see how anybody can think this guy Adam Montgomery here didn't do this.
It's construction metal.
And can you tell these jurors what kind of work you've done in your life, in your career?
Carpentry, roofing, tree work.
Yeah, and I think that might be a problem. I think that might be a problem because all the witnesses that the state's calling are, I don't want to say drug addicts or whatever, but they're not. I mean, credibility is an issue with some of these witnesses.
Painting. Yeah, that's about it.
Mr. Beach, what was your highest level of education?
I graduated 12th, sir.
You graduated high school?
Yes, sir.
And I want to switch gears just a bit. back in March of 2020, where were you residing?
Congress State Prison.
Okay. In early March.
I was Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay. And at some point in March, you were arrested. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Prior to that arrest, do you remember the date of that arrest?
I don't, not off the hand.
Does March 5th sound correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Prior to March 5th of 2020, where were you living?
I was it was Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm not sure the address.
And that's fine. You were in Manchester?
Yes, sir.
And who did you reside with in Manchester?
Barbara Ewell.
Do you know someone named Brittany Bedard?
Yes, sir.
How do you know Miss Bedard?
She's my ex-girlfriend.
And during that period that we're talking about, early March of 2020, was she your girlfriend?
Yeah, it's amazing the difference in tactics, and it's definitely this whole case, the trial anyways, is going pretty standard here. There's no bombshells up to date anyways.
Yes, sir.
And how long at that point had you known Miss Bedard?
10 years.
I grew up in Manchester, so I know all of these places everybody's talking about.
Did she reside with you, with Miss Ewell?
No, sir.
Mr. Beach, do you know an individual named Brendan Middleton?
Yes, sir, I do.
And how do you know Mr. Middleton?
Through we were working together at Accurate Tree Service.
How long have you known Mr. Middleton?
About 5 years.
And that's at that point back in March of 2020?
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, I don't think they're ever going to find her, and I don't even think he knows where she is. I mean, he may know about where she is, but it's just a sad freaking case, man.
How would you describe your relationship with him? Were you friends or something else?
I wouldn't say friends. It was more of a co-worker at the time.
Okay. I want to switch gears for just a moment. You mentioned going to state prison on March 5th of 2020. Were you convicted of a theft by deception and theft by unlawful taking back in 2019?
That's correct.
Were you also convicted of theft by deception in 20?
Yeah, I know Riley. He's a good guy. Yeah, she was missing. She was missing for I think 2 years before anybody knew anything about it. So they had plenty of time. And that's where I think Kayla comes into play there.
14 case.
Yes, sir.
How about theft by unlawful taking in a 2016 case?
I believe I was incarcerated at that time.
Okay. Turning to this case, do you know someone named Adam Montgomery?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And how long have you known Mr. Montgomery?
Since he was 17 years old.
17. Would you recognize him if you saw him today?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach this witness?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Beach, I'm showing you State's Exhibit 101.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you recognize the individual depicted in this image?
Yes, sir.
Who do you recognize this to be?
Adam Montgomery.
The same Adam Montgomery you've known since you were 17?
Yes, sir.
It's an absolutely horrible system. It just doesn't work. I mean, sometimes it does, but very rarely. I mean, when you have a situation like this, it just makes no sense whatsoever.
And back in early March of 2020, February into March of 2020, had you recently reconnected with Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, sir.
And how did that happen?
I was at the mall in New Hampshire, and I was at the food court, and Adam was there with his girlfriend,
and that's how him and I started talking again.
Do you remember his girlfriend's name?
Kayla.
And at some point after that interaction that you had with him at the mall, did he contact you requesting your help with something?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell the jurors what the nature of that communication was?
He asked me if I could rent him a U-Haul, and I said yes.
And do you recall when he contacted you?
For the U-Haul?
For the U-Haul.
Later on during the day.
I want to back up for just a moment. Back in March of 2020, did you have a Facebook account?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall what your Facebook account, the name of that Facebook, your name on that Facebook account was?
Travis B.
I do want to thank everybody for coming in. Appreciate everybody for being here. I know it's late, so thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Beach.
Did you have, were you friends with the defendant on that Facebook account?
Yes, sir.
And so when he contacted you and asked you to rent him a U-Haul, what did you do?
I didn't hesitate. He's a friend. I wasn't thinking of anything negative. I was at his apartment. I saw everything packed up. I put one and one together, thought it was two, but it wasn't.
Okay. And let me stop you there, Mr.
Yes,
Middleton. You said you were at his apartment and you saw things packed up.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember?
I do, however, think it's strange that they still go to the Econo Lodge to do all their drugs. I mean, it's all right. Never mind that. That's like a squirrel thing there.
Remember where his apartment was?
Union Street, I believe.
And that's here in Manchester?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when you were at his apartment?
2020.
Were you at his apartment with Brittany Bedard, with Miss Bedard
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it. Thanks, Southern Gal.
that you mentioned?
Yes, sir, I was.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
So, Mr. Bedard, sorry, Mr. Beach, I'm showing you states.
I mean, these guys are living out of their car. I mean, how does that not raise like a red flag to the state to, intervene?
Exhibit 55. Do you recognize the individual depicted there?
Adam Montgomery's son.
Okay. And you mentioned that Miss Beach was with you.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
During that interaction.
Yes, sir.
Does this accurately reflect your memory of his son that day that you went to the apartment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And can you just read the date at the bottom of that image?
Sunday, March 1st, 2020 at 6:02 p.m.
So having that in mind, does that refresh your recollection as to the actual day that you went to the defendant's apartment on Union Street?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any discussions with the defendant when you went to that apartment street?
We had multiple, yes, sir.
Specifically with respect to the rental of a U-Haul van.
I'm sorry?
Specific to the rental of a U-Haul van.
Yes,
what
sir.
were those discussions that you had with the defendant?
We did. What were the discussions?
What did he say to you?
He asked me to rent him a U-Haul. He needed to move stuff, and yeah, that's it.
And you wanted to help, it sounds.
Yes, sir.
Did you help him, and did you in fact help him rent a U-Haul?
Not per se myself. I got somebody to rent them a U-Haul. So in aspect, yes, sir.
Okay. And I want you to walk us through that.
So I think Harmony's actual mom was in detox, I think. And I think the state deemed her unfit, I think.
You said you got someone to rent him a U-Haul.
Yes, sir.
Who is that someone that you're referring to?
Brendan Middleton.
And the same Brendan Middleton that at that point you'd known for 5 years?
It's so weird. They wanted to get this U-Haul, but nobody had a license. You can't get a license without a U-Haul.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you can't get a U-Haul without a license. It just doesn't make any sense.
And so this wasn't the same day. This was a separate day. Can you walk us through getting that U-Haul with Brendan Middleton?
I myself didn't have a license at the time. So I asked Brittany to get Brittany Bedard to get the U-Haul, and she couldn't. So we had Brendan Middleton rent the U-Haul because he's the one that had the license at the time.
The day that you got the U-Haul, where were you staying? Where were you sleeping that day?
So this U-Haul they're talking about is a pretty, important piece of evidence that they're talking about. But once we get through this guy here, I'll go to the forensics guy.
At the time, at Barbara Yule's house.
At some point during that period, did you go to the Econo Lodge and stay there?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall how many nights you stayed there?
One night.
Do you know whose name that room was in?
I'm pretty sure it was Brittany Bedard's.
And did the defendant also stay at that hotel with you?
Yes, sir.
Separate room or same room?
Separate room. He was on the first floor and I was on the second floor.
So
that hotel is like a hotel meth lab, pretty much.
You're staying at this hotel. At what point do you go and get the U-Haul for the defendant?
It was later on during the night. It was like it was dark. It was dark out, so 8-ish.
And can you tell the jurors who you went with? Who accompanied you to get the U-Haul?
Myself, Brittany Bedard, Brendan Middleton.
Okay. And where did you go to get that U-Haul?
The U-Haul place on South Willow Street here in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Motel Hell.
Yes,
Southern Gal, you're too fun. I'm not lying. I shouldn't be laughing. It's a horrible case, but it is Motel Hell.
What did you do after getting the U-Haul, Mr. Peach?
There's a gas station right next to the U-Haul place. We stopped there, put gas in it, and then we went back to the Econo Lodge.
When you say we went back to the Econo Lodge?
Myself, Brittany Bedard, and Brendan Middleton.
And what did you do when you returned to the Econo Lodge?
We did drugs at the Econo Lodge.
Yes.
Agreed. All right, let me pause this for a second. Let's visit the Motel Hell. So this is a broad view of Manchester, New Hampshire. It's the biggest city in the state. Concord is the capital. It's up here. But you have this river here, the Merrimack River, that goes right through basically the center of the city. You have the west side here, then you have the east side. But the Econo Lodge is basically right there. Let me pull this up. So this is where they were staying. Do some layering here. So it's basically, this is 293. Here's circles back around to 93, or you can go Route 3 up here north. There's Elm Street. This is where the car was towed here up by Webster Street up on the north end. But this is the O'Connor Lodge here, and it's right off of the river. Here's some pictures of Hotel Hell here. This is, you don't sleep on these beds, obviously. Yes, wipe down every counter for sure. Spray every counter. And yep, this is the place. Okay, so let's go back here. Oh, I didn't even share that. Sorry. Hold on a second. Oh, I did. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to this. Just wanted to give you an idea of, yeah. I know they went down to, because Adam Montgomery's not from New Hampshire. He's from Massachusetts, and I think he's from Revere. He sounds like he's either from Revere or Lynn or maybe even Winthrop. But I know they went down to Revere, Massachusetts. I think that was last year to check down there for her, but he might have, who knows where she is. I don't think they're ever going to find her. I just don't, and that's the sad part.
Mr. Beach, when you say we did drugs,
Yes,
who is
sir.
the we that you're referring to?
Myself, Brittany Bedard, Adam, and Kayla Montgomery.
And what drugs are you referring to? What kind of drugs?
Cocaine.
Is that crack cocaine?
Yes, sir.
At some point during that time, you're doing drugs. Did you exchange keys?
Yes, sir.
Did you provide any U-Haul keys?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that interaction. Can you tell the jurors where you were when you gave him the keys and what specifically he told you?
Myself and Brittany Bedard gave the keys to Adam Montgomery, which he was staying at the O'Connor Lodge on the first floor. After that, Adam Montgomery and myself went outside to smoke a cigarette. He was pacing back and forth. He said he effed up, and I asked him what he meant, and all he could say and repeat was he effed up. And I'm not sure.
And you said he repeated that.
Yes, sir.
How many times did he repeat?
4 or 5 times.
When you say act, did he actually say the word?
Yes, sir.
What did he say? Did you tell the jurors?
I fucked up.
You repeated that.
Yes, sir.
He looked around to see if he could actually literally say that in court. That's too funny. All right, let's go. I want to go here to this guy here, because this is, give me a second here. All right, so let's get out of this one here. I wanted to just play that to that point. And then we're going to go to the DNA guy. Yeah, he looked around to make sure he could say that in court. It's so funny. It's not often you're allowed to say
Alan,
that.
Ackroyd, you saw this?
Okay, so this is the DNA guy, analyst. Here.
ALANACK.
And this guy here was wicked professional.
ROYD hyphen ISALES.
Mr. Ackroyd Azales, where are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed by DNA Labs International.
And how long have you been employed there?
I've worked at DNA Labs International for roughly the last 2.5 years.
What is your current assignment with that organization?
I'm currently a senior DNA analyst.
And what is a senior DNA analyst? What do you do?
DNA analyst examines evidence connected to crime scenes for the presence of biological material and seeks to obtain DNA profiles from whatever biological material they find.
And what's your current role and responsibility in that as a senior DNA analyst?
Well, As I said, I conduct analyses on evidence, write up reports as to my conclusions, testify as necessary. In addition to that, I also participate in continuing education, proficiency testing, training newer analysts in the protocols and procedures of the laboratory, and any other duties I can perform to help the lab function smoothly.
Before you were employed by DNA Labs International, where were you employed?
Prior to DNA Labs International, I worked for the Defense Forensic Science Center, which is the forensic laboratory for the armed forces.
And let me back up for just a moment. DNA Labs International, where's that organization based out of?
That's based out of Deerfield Beach, Florida.
You mentioned your prior role with, I think you mentioned the defense. Can you just repeat?
Defense Forensic Science Center.
Defense Forensic Science Center. How long were you employed by then?
I worked there for roughly 10 years.
And when did you start with them? What year?
I started with them in 2011.
Can you tell these jurors about your background, your education?
Well, I got a bachelor's in science in biology.
So apparently, they hid her in a ceiling, and I believe that was at the Fit Center, which is basically like a detox place for people who are, addicted. And they tore apart some of the ceiling part, and then they sent that to the lab for testing. The state lab sent it off to these guys, and that's what he's testifying for.
From Haverford College, and then a master's in forensic science from Virginia Commonwealth University.
And what year did you graduate from? Did you say Haverford College?
Haverford College, yes. I graduated in 2008.
And what specialized training and experience do you have for your current position?
Well, every laboratory will have its own training plan for DNA analysts. So my first job with the Defense Forensic Science Center, I passed their specific qualifications. And after that, when I was employed at DNA Labs International, I then passed their specific training plan. And in addition to that,
I do think the state is really doing a good job of setting up some sort of a history with everything that happened. And they want a broad picture for the jury to see about this guy and about all of the evidence collected, all of the hiding of the evidence, all of the, they're doing a good job of laying everything out in a row here.
I participate in proficiency testing, continuing education, keeping abreast of developments in my field.
Have you testified previously? I know you said that that's a function of your current role, but have you testified in a superior court?
Yes, I have.
An accredited organization?
Yes, it is.
And what is its accreditation?
Well, it's recognized as a laboratory that can be trusted to follow proper protocols and procedures, keep to guidelines set by the FBI. And this accreditation was given by the American National Standards Institute National Accreditation Board.
You mentioned proficiency testing. Can you tell the jurors what that is?
Essentially, a proficiency test is a mock case submitted by an organization outside my laboratory in which they know what results I should.
Let me know if the sound is good, because I know that some of the trial is really bad because the people keep walking away from the microphones. But then again, some of the trial was really good. I mean, you can really hear this water being poured. So, I mean, yeah.
Get from DNA analysis on the evidence they send us. And I have to properly follow my lab's protocols and procedures to get those correct results. That demonstrates I can properly do the job.
So that's proficiency testing in general. Have you completed proficiency testing?
Yes, I have.
What were the results?
I passed every proficiency test.
Approximately how many
Thank you, Southern Gal.
have you performed DNA
Thank you, Southern Gal.
analysis on in your career?
This is a very rough estimate, but I would say that I've worked on approximately 30,000 samples in my career at this point.
30,000?
Yes.
See, this is a good prosecution here because they're They're not just introducing this guy as some sort of a DNA person. They're going from the history of what this guy does, the accreditation of his field of science, all of this stuff. Because if you don't do that, the defense will just rip this guy apart. I think, in fact, she does cross-examine him, and I think there's a debate on whether or not the science is real or not, and how long they've been doing this, and all of that stuff.
Have you ever been recognized as an expert in the field of forensic analysis, DNA analysis?
Yes, because I've qualified as an expert witness in other jurisdictions.
Your Honor, the state moves to qualify Mr. Ackroyd-Azales as an expert in the field of DNA analysis.
I have no objection to him giving his opinion. The court finds him so qualified.
And you mentioned testifying in depositions. Did you testify in a deposition?
Because this defense, wait till you hear the defense lawyer. I mean, she sounds like a nice little lady, but she's ruthless. She's great.
In this specific matter?
Yes, I did.
And during that deposition, did you reference reports that you had written in this specific matter?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the jurors how many reports you've authored in this case?
I wrote 6 reports for this case.
The material that you referenced during that deposition, that was the defense's opportunity to ask you questions. Do you have those here with you today?
Yes, I have them.
And would referring to those items, those reports, the material that you authored in this case, would that help your testimony?
Yes, it would.
Being able to refer to that information.
It would be helpful.
Your Honor, I've asked that this witness be allowed to reference his case material as necessary.
Upon request as necessary.
Thank you. So, Mr. Ackroyd-Azales, this jury's already heard from an analyst, a DNA analyst before, but just generally, can you describe what DNA is?
DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It's the basic building block of life. It's present in all living things.
And can you tell the jurors where it's found in the human body?
DNA is found in the nucleus of the cells within a body.
And does DNA differ cell to cell?
Within a single organism, DNA does not differ from cell to cell.
How about person to person?
Person to person, yes. The DNA does differ. That's the basis of DNA analysis.
And can you just explain for the jurors, can you just walk them through the steps of DNA analysis?
So there's a couple key steps that had to be performed once a sample is collected from evidence. First is extraction, in which that sample is exposed to a combination of heat and chemicals. Now that serves to break open whatever cells are present in a sample and purify the DNA within it. Following that is quantitation. All that means...
See, the thing is that these guys can think they can get away with this stuff forever. They just can't. I mean, science is really starting to catch up. The advancements in DNA is just, just a couple of years ago, you would have never heard of these labs getting introduced in some of these cases. I mean, and there's hope. There's hope for a lot of cases out there where just a small, tiny stuff you can't even probably see with the naked eye could be used as evidence. So you can run, but you can't hide, right?
This is just measuring how much DNA is present in that extracted sample. And if there's enough DNA, the step after that is amplification. Now, the human genome, that's a lot of information. I don't need to look at every bit of that. I'm just interested in roughly 20 or so genetic markers, what I call loci. And that's enough for me to differentiate the DNA from one person to another. So the way amplification works is that it makes millions upon millions of copies of just those genetic markers in a sample. So once that's been done, the last step is injecting that amplified sample into a genetic...
It's awesome. It's just, revolutionizing the industry known as crime science, and not just the DNA side, but also forensic digital stuff. I mean, that's a big player too. They can basically, if they want to, they can basically tell where you were at what time, just from a cell phone.
Analyzer. And essentially, this instrument just translates that amplified sample into a DNA profile that I can interpret and analyze.
And you mentioned your lab's accreditation. Does your lab follow standardized protocols and procedures?
Yes, it does.
And you mentioned a review.
The problem is whether or not the jury can stay awake for this stuff, because the jury, depending on the jury, if they're fascinated by this stuff, if they're not fascinated, I mean, too many experts, too many cross examinations. I mean, they just may fall asleep and not listen to any of it. So that's why this prosecutor, I think, is doing a pretty good job of keeping it interesting by asking the questions that the jury's going to want to stay awake for.
Review process. Can you just describe what that review process is for the jurors?
Well, a review that my reports always have to go through is a technical review. So
I mean, I watch a lot of Dateline and a lot of all of these trials that do go on, and some of the DNA experts that come up and talk, I mean, you could literally fall asleep listening to them. It's like, listening to a baseball game in the mid-afternoon. It's like, just doze off to sleep. So you need to keep the jury engaged in what's being talked about so that they can understand what's going on. It's not easy to do.
Their qualified analyst has to review my work, make sure that they agree with my conclusions, and that I wrote up my results appropriately.
Mr. Acro-Rosales, I want to switch gears and I want to talk about your work on this case. And again, if you need to refer to your notes at any point, just let us know. But did you conduct DNA analysis in this case?
Yes, I did.
This guy,
what known DNA?
This guy here just looks really smart. Like, just my opinion.
DNA samples were you provided during the course of your work on this case?
To be clear, DNA sample references that the laboratory worked or DNA profiles that were provided, but from another agency.
Let's first talk about DNA profiles that were provided by another agency.
If I can refer to the reports.
I mean, I have a problem just writing down shit that I need for the house on a note, right? We'll come up with the list of stuff we need for the house, and I'll go from one room to another one and forget what I was going to write down. So, I mean, to have a detailed log of stuff you did 3 months ago, 3 years ago, so.
DNA profiles for Harmony Montgomery and Adam Montgomery were provided by the New Hampshire Department of Safety Forensic Laboratory.
That's why I'm always at the store, because do we need toilet paper, ketchup, toothpaste, whatever? And sometimes we both don't write it down and we both get it, so now we have double of what. Anyways.
And that DNA profile for Harmony Montgomery, do you know where that came from? Where that profile was developed from?
That was taken from a toothbrush, presumed to have been Harmony Montgomery's property, and as such was taken as an alternate reference for Harmony Montgomery.
2 known profiles is what you mentioned receiving. During your work on this case, your involvement on this case, did you develop another profile?
Yes, we received a reference sample for Crystal Sori, and we developed a DNA profile from that sample within my laboratory.
And was that from a buccal swab?
Yes, it was.
So now that we know about these known samples that you received, I want to talk about your work on this case, specific items that you processed and analyzed. Before we get there, though, can you just describe?
That's me too, Southern Gal. It doesn't matter. Lists don't work for me either. Like I'll have a list and I'll go into the store and I won't even look at the list because I figure I got it. Welcome back, Jocelyn. Thank you for coming back in. We're going over the Adam Montgomery thing now. This is the DNA analyst on that sheetrock that they pulled out from the ceiling. I think that was from the Fit Center. I'm not sure.
Describe the 4 steps that you go through when you receive a swab, when you start with a swab or a cutting of an unknown DNA sample.
Well, as I explained earlier for the DNA process, we go through extraction, separating the DNA within the cells in the sample from the rest of it, quantitation, measuring how much DNA there is, amplification, making copies of just the genetic markers that I look at in a DNA profile, and then injecting that amplified sample into a genetic analyzer. And that's what gives me a DNA profile that I can look at and interpret.
During the course of your involvement on this case, did you receive an item MER 3D RL13?
Yes.
Okay. And so let's begin with that item. That's already been admitted in this case as States Exhibit 74, and it's marked MER 3D RL13. What is that item? Can you tell the jurors?
If I can go to the report.
Please.
That item is pieces of sheetrock with heavy stains. A piece of sheetrock with heavy stains, excuse me.
Piece of sheetrock with heavy stains. Did you perform DNA analysis on that item?
I performed DNA analysis on samples taken from this item.
Okay, and how many samples were taken from that item?
2 samples were taken from this piece of sheetrock, one from the left bottom corner of the staining, and one from the center edge of the staining. And these 2 samples were combined together to go through the DNA process as one sample.
And can you just explain why you do that and how it works?
Well, why 2 samples were combined?
Yes.
In this case, it was presumptive that.
Yeah, I think this was a important testimony here from this guy here, even though it's, I don't want to say inconclusive, but just this information here and the way it was presented by the prosecution and by this expert here, I think the jury, I have no idea whether the jury was listening, but I would probably listen to this because it was laid out really well.
That staining all came from the same source. It also tested as indicative of blood. So we went on treating that as from being from the same person.
And you said it tested as indicative of blood. What does that mean for the jurors?
So we did what is called a presumptive test for the presence of blood. So that's generally considered a presumptive test is very sensitive for whatever material it's testing for, but it's not considered confirmatory, as in it's not considered specific to that material. So in this case, we only did a presumptive testing. So all I can say is that blood was indicated on this item.
So you combined the 2 samples that you received. What were the results of your testing?
At the end of the DNA process for that sample, the resulting DNA profile indicated at least 1 female contributor. However, due to some ambiguity in the profile, I interpreted it as 2 contributors.
And what was the ambiguity? Can you explain that?
Well, there are known side effects of the DNA process that can at times indicate that there's another contributor present. Basically, those signs weren't conclusive enough for me to say that there was definitely at least 2 people there, but it was suggesting that there were 2 people. So as a result, my language was that I interpreted that profile as 2 people.
What other conclusions were you able to draw from those samples in your analysis?
In comparing that DNA profile to the reference profiles from Harmony Montgomery, Crystal Sori, and Adam Montgomery, none of them were able to be ruled out as possible contributors to that mixture.
Did you perform a likelihood ratio on those results?
Yes. A likelihood ratio is essentially a comparison of two competing ideas. In this case, I'm saying that for this DNA mixture, one idea is that the DNA profile is explained by the presence of one of the references and an unknown person, versus the other idea being that the DNA profile is made up of two unknown people. So by comparing those two contrasting ideas to explain the evidence, I can generate a likelihood ratio which says which of those propositions we say is more likely than the other.
And what was the likelihood ratio with respect to the profile that you received from Harmony or of Harmony Montgomery?
The DNA, I'm reading directly from the report, if that's all right.
Any objection? No objection. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The DNA profile from the sample is approximately 4.1 billion times more probable if the sample originated from Harmony Montgomery.
Let's hear that again. Ready?
DNA, I'm reading directly from the report, if that's all right.
Any objection? No objection. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The DNA profile from the sample is approximately 4.1 billion times.
4.1 billion. Okay. There's approximately 1 million people living in New Hampshire. So they'll go over this anyways.
It's more probable if the sample originated from Harmony Montgomery and an unknown person than if it originated from two unknown persons. And this analysis provides very strong support for the proposition that Harmony Montgomery is a contributor to the DNA profile obtained from this sample.
And you just said very strong support. Why use that phrase, very strong support?
Well, we use a verbal scale to describe the strength of likelihood ratios. And the strongest language that I'm allowed to use is very strong support. And that begins when a likelihood ratio is 1 million or greater. And in this case, as I said, the likelihood ratio is 4.1 billion.
And can you explain the significance of that number, 4.1 billion?
Well, just to give us a scale, a sense of the numbers, 1 million.
You dumbass. This is basically what the guy's saying.
Is a 1 followed by 6 zeros, if you're ever lucky enough to see it on a check. 1 billion, on the other hand, is a 1 followed by 9 zeros.
So we're still talking about States Exhibit 74. That's MER 3D RL13, the piece of sheetrock that you mentioned with.
So basically, what they're saying is on the sheetrock that they pulled from the ceiling, the likelihood of it being somebody else besides Harmony Montgomery is like 1 in 4.5 billion.
Did you conduct further analysis of that item?
Yes, as I said, I also conducted comparisons to Adam Montgomery and Crystal Sorey. In comparing Crystal Sorey to this DNA profile from the piece of sheetrock, the DNA profile obtained from the sample is approximately 12 times more probable if the sample originated from two unknown persons than if it originated from Crystal Sorey and an unknown person. In this case, this analysis provides limited support for the proposition that Crystal Sorey is not a contributor to the mixture obtained from this sample.
Any other analysis that you performed with respect to those samples?
In comparing Adam Montgomery, the DNA profile obtained from the sample is approximately 18 times more probable if the sample originated from two unknown persons than if it originated from Adam Montgomery and an unknown person. And this analysis provides limited support for the proposition that Adam Montgomery is not a contributor to this DNA profile.
I mean, this is such awesome evidence here. This is just such, great science here. It's just amazing.
Still with respect to States Exhibit 74 MER 3D 13, RL 13, which the jury saw yesterday, just for clarification. Did you test another sample of that item at some point during your involvement in this case?
Yes, in a report after this one that I just described the results from, another sample was taken for testing.
And why was another sample taken for testing?
Well, we received permission to use a amplification kit different from the one that is originally approved for the New Hampshire State Police.
Can you walk us through the process of that second sample that you took, or third sample rather, that you took?
Well, I should say that we requested this permission because the DNA was very degraded, we could see on the sheetrock. And the kit that we wanted to use was an upgraded version of the one we had used before. So it tested for more genetic markers, and we would be able to perform more conclusive analysis, I should say.
Now, you just mentioned the DNA that you observed on that item. It's something for being degraded. Can you explain to the jurors what that means?
Well, DNA is not a very strong molecule, I should say. There's a lot of different environmental factors that can break it down. That includes ultraviolet light, exposure to heat, chemicals, cleaning agents, strong acids and bases, prolonged immersion in water, bacteria. So all that can serve to break down DNA. So there's not many places just out in the world where DNA won't be attacked in some fashion.
How about time? Does time have anything to do with
Well,
degradation of DNA samples?
generally speaking, yes. The longer DNA is exposed to any of those elements, yeah, DNA is going to break down even further, with more time, with more exposure.
The third piece that you tested, can you walk us through your analysis, the process that you used?
Yes, just flipping to that report. So this is still that item, the piece of sheetrock with the heavy staining. An additional sample was collected from approximately 3 inches of the bottom of the stained area. And again, blood was indicated on that sample. And the DNA profile obtained from this sample, it definitively indicated a mixture of at least 2 individuals.
This poor kid. I mean, it's just absolutely horrible.
Were you able to draw any conclusions based on your analysis?
In comparing Harmony Montgomery, Crystal Sorey, and Adam Montgomery to this new mixture, again, I wasn't able to conclusively exclude, they could not be conclusively ruled out as possible contributors to the mixture.
Did you perform a likelihood ratio as you did with the prior samples?
Yes, I did.
What were the results of that likelihood ratio?
In comparing Harmony Montgomery to this mixture, the DNA profile obtained from the sample is approximately 1.1 trillion times more probable if the sample originated from Harmony Montgomery and 1 unknown person than if it originated from 2 unknown persons.
Let's hear that again.
Did you perform a likelihood ratio as you did with the prior samples?
Yes, I did.
What were the results of that likelihood ratio?
In comparing Harmony Montgomery to this mixture, the DNA profile obtained from the sample is approximately 1.1 trillion.
1.1 trillion. 1.1 trillion.
Times more probable if the sample originated from Harmony Montgomery and 1 unknown person than if it originated from 2 unknown persons. And this analysis provides very strong support for the proposition that Harmony Montgomery is a contributor to the DNA profile obtained from the sample.
And that terminology that you just used.
What is that in Back to the Future? Gigawatts or whatever. 1.21 gigawatts. That's a lot of zeros, yeah.
Very strong support. That again is the highest level of support that you can provide. Is that correct?
That is the strongest language that I'm allowed to use.
And can you explain the significance of that number, 1.1 trillion?
Well, a trillion is a million multiplied by another million. Or to put it another way, as I was saying, a million is a 1 followed by 6 zeros. A trillion is a 1 followed by 12 zeros.
That would be a really good paycheck right there.
You mentioned 2 contributors, 2 potential contributors. Was there a second profile that you were able to obtain from that item?
Sorry, do you mean was I able to perform a likelihood ratio for that second contributor in the mixture?
Correct, yes.
I wasn't able to conclusively, I was able to perform a likelihood ratio for Adam Montgomery and Crystal Sorey to that mixture. For Crystal Sorey, the DNA profile obtained from the sample is approximately 1.5 times more probable if the sample originated from Crystal Sorey and 1 unknown person than if it originated from 2 unknown persons. But we consider that uninformative if a likelihood ratio is between 1.1 and 2, because that's just not strong support for either proposition. In comparing.
Okay, so I just wanted to play that. That was really good testimony from this guy here. I do want to play this short one here. This is going to be, give me a second here, and then I'm going to go on to, hold on a second. Let me stop sharing this and then start sharing this. I mean, I don't know what that's going to do for the jury, but the fact that they did hear that is enough for me to think it could be important. So this is the property manager. Play a little bit of this. This was I watched this too, and this is she testifies about the defendant's alleged abuse of Kayla. So trigger warning here, just to let everybody know.
So if you go ahead and raise your right hand, you solemnly swear the testimony that you give this church will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes.
Thank you. Please feel free to have a seat.
Ms. Hilbert, as we're being recorded here today, would you please go ahead and state your full name and spell both your first and your last name for the record?
Tara Hilbert, TaraHilbert.
Thank you, Ms. Hilbert. And what town are you living in right now?
Manchester, New Hampshire.
How long have you lived in Manchester?
Almost 8 years.
Okay. And where do you live? What street?
Orange Street.
On Orange Street?
Yes.
Okay. What do you do for work?
Pretty much the property manager for over there.
Okay. And when you say the property manager, how many buildings do you help manage?
Just for that property, there's 4 buildings on that property. And then there's other properties elsewhere, but.
Okay. So do you help manage the other properties elsewhere as well as the 4 there?
If the landlord needs help, yes.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
5 years? 4 years? 5 years?
4 or 5 years. And how far did you go in school?
10th grade.
10th grade. All right. What are some of the other things that you will do for the landlord to help out for those 4 properties or for properties elsewhere? Can you kind of describe what some of your duties are to the jury?
I will help maintenance clean out apartments if they need it. Clean when before tenants moving in, I will completely finish cleaning it. I'll meet with new tenants before moving in, give them keys. If anybody needs any help, have any questions, they usually come to me and I take care of it.
I'm about to say, do they call you, or sometimes they usually even maybe knock on your door? Yes. Since you're right there?
Yes.
All right. Do you know an individual by the name of Dennis Cloutier?
Yes.
Okay. How do you know him?
That is our maintenance man.
Big beard?
Yes.
All right. How long have you known him?
8 years.
And with regards to the properties that you talked about, you take care of, is one of those properties 644 Union Street?
Yes.
Mr. Cloutier, do you know whether he has done work there at 644 Union Street? Yes. If I could approach you, please, Your Honor.
So we'd like to go ahead and show you the exhibits.
To show you what's marked states 136 and 137, and just ask generally whether or not you recognize those images.
Yes.
What do you recognize them to be?
This is my building that I live in.
Okay.
This is the corner of Orange and Union, and then the other property of Union Street.
All right, I see that's all on 136. And what about 137?
That is my back parking lot.
Okay. Back parking lot for your building. Is it also the back parking lot for 644 Union?
Yes.
I'm going to leave these up here with you for a moment. Specifically looking at exhibit 136. If you could.
So let me just do this here really quick. give us some bearings on where we are. So this is the corner that they're talking about. This is Union Street here, and this is Orange Street here. This goes, south to north, and this is east and west here. So this is where she's talking about. She manages some of the buildings in here. The further you go up here, the more you get out of the zone, so to speak. And then, the zone is then more down in here. And the more north you go here, the more it comes out of what they call the zone here. All right, so let's get back to this. Whoops.
You just look onto the screen for a quick minute, Ms. Hilbert, just to confirm that's the same image?
Yes.
All right. And you went ahead and said that there was, could you please point out where 644 Union Street is in this, kind of the intersections?
This is Orange Street.
Mhm.
This is Union.
Okay.
This is 644.
So that's 644. The building that's right on the corner of Orange and Union, is that also one of the ones that you manage? Okay. And what about the building just to the right? If we go, that'd be west on Orange Street there. Yes. Is that also one of the properties that you manage?
That's my building.
That's your building. Okay. With regards to a person by the name of Adam Montgomery, do you know who that is? All right. And who's that?
It was a old tenant of ours.
Could you please point out what was the building that Mr. Montgomery was staying in? That one there? Right. I'd like to switch now to Exhibit 137. I've got that on the screen. I just want to confirm, if you would please, that what you're looking at on the screen matches 137 that's in front of you on the desk. Okay. And from this angle, could you please point out where Orange Street and Union Street are again, that same intersection?
This is Orange Street.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Union.
So the back side of that 644 Union Street, which building is that? Okay, the one looks like a porch built off the back.
Well, these are three separate numbers: 640, 642, 644.
Oh, okay. Those units inside those buildings, are they all accessible from the back as well as from the front? Right.
These porches,
And
they're like open porches here, and you have your stairways that go down like this here. I think it's an ordinance in Manchester to have an entrance and a back. Years ago, they used to call them fire escapes, but now they're just back, to wooden stairs here.
Could you please point out the parking lot that's used by the people who live in that building?
Right here.
Right there. Okay. And with regards to your building, is that the building on the far left-hand side of the screen, still on this side of Orange?
This one, yes.
That's the one. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Hilbert. Please feel free to have a seat. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
With regards to Adam Montgomery,
Has anybody ever testified in court? I know I haven't. But it looks painful.
Also know an individual by the name of Kayla Montgomery.
I do.
How did you first meet Adam Montgomery?
I don't know our first interaction. I remember seeing him here and there. And then I feel like it had to do with the kids because I had a child, their children's age.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just went from there.
With regards to, you said you had a child the same age as their children's age. How many children did they have that you saw?
At that time?
Yes.
Two.
Did your child and their children play together sometimes? And where would they play?
In the parking lot.
The same one that we see here on Exhibit 137?
More at the parking lot on my side.
Okay.
But yeah.
At the time, Adam Montgomery, what was he doing for work? Do you know?
He was not working at that time that I'm aware of.
No, really.
separate from that, did you ever visit him inside his apartment?
No.
Okay. Where would you interact with him?
In the parking lot, my porch, and he was in my house a couple.
You've been on a jury before? That must have been cool. I've never been on a jury and I've never testified. I wouldn't be able to do it because I smoke. So,
couple times.
And why was he in your house a couple times?
Thank you.
We were feeding him, Kayla, and the kids.
What time of year was that?
Summertime.
So like a grill out or something?
Yes.
All right. Did he ever say anything to you about having a daughter by the name of Harmony?
He did.
I used to play in a band. Playing in front of people was never a problem because I was either stoned or drunk. So, I mean, but to do it like solo in front of people, like standing up and talking to a room full of people, I probably couldn't do that.
Okay. What did he say about Harmony?
Just that he had a daughter named Harmony and that he hadn't seen her in a couple of years because her mother took her back to Massachusetts.
That's what he told.
So remember that statement right there.
He did.
Okay. What did he say about Harmony?
Just that he had a daughter named Harmony and that he hadn't seen her in a couple of years because her mother took her back to Massachusetts.
That's what he told you.
Yes.
I know that's hearsay, but.
And when would this have been that you had this conversation with him? What year?
2020.
2020? Yep. Would you have conversation?
Crocodile Eve. Yeah, if only I would have thought of that as a name. Awesome name.
Conversations with him also in, let's say, to 2021 as well. With regards to, let me just say this. Did he ever say specifically where Harmony was with her mother?
I want to say it was Lowell.
Okay.
Lowell, Mass.
All right. That's your memory?
Yeah.
And when he was living next door, I'm sorry, not next door, but he was living in Union Street and you were over on Orange Street, right? So that's not technically next door.
To me, it's next door, but yeah.
Okay. Right. With regards to the residents at Union Street during the time period that he was living there, how would you describe those neighbors? Were they average? Were they quiet? Were they loud?
I didn't see them the first 6 months of them living there.
Oh, and by them you mean
Adam and Kayla. Oh,
okay.
is that what we were talking?
We had two names. First name was the Stranger Comedy Hour, and the second name was Death Wish.
Well, yeah, let me revise the question. That's all right. That's all right. That's on me for not asking a clear question. So you didn't see them for the first 6 months. Let me go with that for a minute.
Yeah.
All right. And how would you get into their apartment from this photo that we're looking at here?
Can I stand up?
Yes, if you could.
So their back door is like right there.
Okay. So I see you're kind of pointing to the bottom left of
Thank you for asking. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before.
that stair structure on the top right-hand side of the, or top right-hand, let's say, quadrant of the image. Is that right? Would you say that's the top right area?
Yeah, I'd like to take credit for that name, but it wasn't me.
Of that photo?
To me, it's left, but
Top left. Okay. Top left of the stairs. Okay. But overall, if
I came up when they did the whole name for the band, I came up with free beer, like free beer. And everybody's like, you can't put that name up for a band. And I'm like, why not? You put, a headliner, free beer, you're going to have a lot of people show up.
I looked at the whole photo, would you say it's the top right-hand side of the photo?
Yes.
All right. With regards to the noise, was there ever any noise complaints in those buildings
from other tenants, yeah.
from other tenants? Yeah. Okay. Did you ever?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite actors. Oh my God, now I'm having a blank. Charles Bronson.
Ever receive one from Adam Montgomery?
Not that I recall. I think everybody stayed away from him. They just stayed.
I mean, who wouldn't show up for free beer, right?
Sustained.
I'll rephrase the question, Ms. Hilbert. So with regards to that particular building, did you ever respond to any sort of noise complaints at that building?
No.
Okay. And I mean 644 Union Street, that building.
No.
And let me ask, with regards to Adam Montgomery, did he ever tell you where they were living prior to them living at 644 Union?
Yeah, they told me that they had stayed with
Charles Bronson just had that face, like don't fuck around with Charles Bronson. You can just see in his face. And my favorite movie from him was the one he did about the Night Stalker there. The guy.
Sustained. Rephrase the question, please.
Okay. What, if anything, did Adam tell you about the location of where he had been living prior to him coming to be with you?
I knew about the FIT program they were in. And then
Did he ever say about any other residence he lived in before FIT?
a car?
A car. Thank you. I'd like to ask a few questions with regards to Kayla Montgomery. Did you have conversations?
Most of these names come from really, really late nights with a lot of coffee.
Communicate with her as well?
Yes.
And I'm not going to go into the substance of what those conversations were, but what were the ways that you would communicate with each other?
Sometimes through Facebook Messenger, other times on my porch, parking lot.
In April of 2021, at any time, did you take Kayla away from the Union Street apartment?
I did.
Why?
Because Adam had beat her pretty bad.
How did she look when you saw her?
Really bad.
And when you say really bad, can you describe where you saw, I'm sorry, did you see any injuries on her?
I did.
Where did you see those injuries?
Her eyes, her nose, she was covered in blood.
Where did you take her?
To a hotel in Hooksett.
When was the last, did she have anybody with her when you took her to the hotel in Hooksett?
Her two boys and the little girl that she had just had.
The baby?
So she had, I think she had two children from a previous relationship. I don't know the baby, if the baby was Adam's or not sure. So, yeah.
Later on, did the Montgomerys, both Adam Montgomery and Kayla Montgomery and the children, move out of that apartment?
Yeah, they got evicted.
Okay. Were you a part of the clean out that was done on that apartment?
Yes, any band name with the word coffee in it would get my attention for sure. No doubt in my mind. Yeah, I think this is a powerful testimony here from her. I know it's hearsay, but the jury hears this shit. Whether they can use it or not, I don't know, but this is important. This guy here, Adam Montgomery, is just a living piece of dog shit. I don't have any respect for anybody that harms a woman either. Period. No respect whatsoever.
Who would have come in to do that clean out?
Dennis.
And when a clean out is done of the apartments, when you manage them and the ones that you've seen, what's the sort of work that gets done on those apartments?
I mean, regardless in the point of Kayla, regardless of how this ends, her life is pretty much over. Her life is, I don't want to say over. Her life is pretty much written now. It's very few people are going to trust her ever again. She's in, she is who she is. But, I don't, I don't I don't know if she was being abused. It's a different story, but I don't know. I think she knows a little bit more than she's leading on to. But they had to use somebody. They had to use somebody to get this guy to a trial, and kudos for her for testifying. It's be really hard in this case without her.
Pretty much just throw everything in trash bags, and I specifically put it on the outside porch, and Dennis will come pick it up, put the trailer, and take it to the dump.
What about with regards to and
I do agree with that. There's just no excuse to hold that. I mean, I would never do that. Like I would rather die than hold that in. I would go to authorities immediately. Like I would rather, but I'm not I'm not in that situation. So, but I would literally, intervene.
any of the sort of appliances inside? Are appliances changed?
Yes.
And what's the typical turnaround time for a new renter to come in?
It all depends how damaged the apartment is prior. Sometimes it'll take over a month to fix the damages.
Once the apartment is ready to rent, usually what's the time period between that and when a new tenant would move in?
I'd say a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I know myself. I know what I would do. People are different. She had kids too. I mean, drugs are definitely a little bit more important to some people. I know myself personally. I wouldn't have stood for this, but then again, I was never in that situation. So, but I have literally no respect for any of those people at all. Period.
Okay, so a week to 2 weeks as assuming the apartment's okay, that's the turnover time.
Yeah.
I mean, this poor kid never did anything to anybody, and they treated her like worse than anything you can imagine.
Let me just have a moment, please, Your Honor.
All right, so what we're going to do here, we've seen enough of this. I just wanted to go over some of the key highlights in this. There was this woman who testified to, but it's a horrible, horrible thing. So, really quick, I want to go to this here. This is an update. This was done a little while ago, but I do want to play this here. So let me get out of this. And that'll take care of the. I'll keep following. I'm going to definitely keep following the Adam Montgomery case. He'll never see the light of day, anyways. Period. But he just deserves so much more than that, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so anybody's ever heard of this case here? This is the Rachel Morin case, and they've come out with a sketch. So let's play this here. And
your break in the.
Let me do this here. So Rachel Morin, she went missing. She was unalived in was it Maryland? Actually, let me read this here. So Maryland officials released a sketch of Rachel Morin, suspected unaliver, more than 6 months after her unaliving on a popular hiking trail in Bel Air, Maryland. She just went out for a hike and was brutally attacked. So let me play this here. This is the sketch that they came out with, I think. Actually, let me go back. Well, we'll start playing this here.
The Rachel Morin murder investigation this week. The Harford County Sheriff's Department finally releasing sketches of the person they believe is her killer. More than 6 months after the murder of the mother of 5 was found dead. She was murdered on a popular hiking trail. Now remember, they already had video showing the suspect leaving a different.
So does everybody know about this case? So she, like I said, she went unalived. I'll bring up a picture of her. They'll probably show one here.
Crime scene in Los Angeles, where he's accused of assaulting a young
So
girl.
they came out with this shortly after she was unalived, and this is the guy leaving. Apparently, he attacked this young girl here, and then just walked out and walked away. But they attached his DNA to the crime in Maryland. This was in California, and they attached his DNA to the crime in Maryland to Rachel Morin. So they've been looking for this guy ever since, but now they've come out with a sketch because you can't really tell too much about this guy.
During a home invasion, but you never see his face in that video. They were able to link the scenes using DNA found at both in Maryland and in Los Angeles, totally different parts of the country. And the red hat apparently is key. Police saying DNA evidence they found.
He attacked the whole family?
And used to track down the potential suspect came from the red.
So this is the sketch rendition of this guy here. Don't forget, sketches are not perfect. Distinctive features you might know. He probably doesn't look anything like this now, that's for sure.
Red hat.
This is a horrible case too.
Harford County.
Hopefully they get this guy soon because he'll probably do this again.
Sheriff Jeff Gawler explained.
This composite is not only what we believe the suspect looks like, but also that hat. That hat is the red Michael Jordan Air Jordan hat with the very flat brim.
Well, I didn't know that. I thought he attacked a teenager. I didn't know about that stuff. So yeah, that sucks.
The stickers on it is the hat that was recovered from Los Angeles.
Oh, they used his red hat, the DNA from his red hat.
It's one of the items where the DNA was pulled from that led us to the match.
Rachel was reported missing by her boyfriend.
I think she's actually from Dover, New Hampshire. I'm not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure she is. She was, anyways. She has family up here.
And on August 5th, after she set off for a hike at around 6 that evening and never returned, officers found her car at the trailhead the next day. And hours later, a volunteer searcher found her body. Rachel's mother, Patty, spoke with me earlier this week about this new development.
I'm actually happy that we finally have a sketch and we have a face that we can look for. Having just the back of somebody's head, unless you're a mother and you know your child, or it's your best friend or your husband, it's hard to know who that person is. So having a sketch of the person's face, I just feel like the whole world's going to be looking for this man.
Let's hope so. Back with my panel. Geraldo Rivera, you have a theory about this case.
I do. Why is there no person attached to the DNA that has been found and linked between the two crime scenes? I submit that it is likely, at least to me, that this is an undocumented immigrant, an illegal alien who is not anywhere in the U.S. data bank. There's no name attached to him. He's never been arrested in the United States. It's clear, otherwise he would have popped right up. He is, I submit, likely an undocumented person whose identity is unknown because he's one of millions now in the country without authorization and without any kind of paper trail, so to speak.
That is, Jesse, if he's still in the country, right? I mean, that's going to be a big thing. Now, the sheriff also released what they viewed as another key detail, that they believe that the killer was in Maryland for a few days before the murder, suggesting that they have evidence that he was spotted, et cetera. Does that?
Yeah, good old Geraldo, right? I don't know why this computer is doing this right now.
Change anything?
Look, I think this is a great development. I'm cautiously optimistic because this sketch would have been great 6 months ago.
I disagree with that. I don't think he's an illegal immigrant. I think he's been in this country for a while. He looks like he's military.
You look at the photo. maybe someone will be like, oh, I remember that guy, but doesn't have those kind of distinguishing characteristics. He may look entirely different now than he did. And as much.
Yeah, I guarantee he doesn't look like this. But to me, he's either former law enforcement or military.
As they talk about the red hat, does he still have it? I mean, is he wearing it in other places? It's a great thing. But at the same time, it would have been more useful 6 months ago. Maybe it'll strike somebody's memory and say, I remember seeing somebody with that exact description in Maryland. But again, I'm cautiously.
But and this is interesting because the sheriff talked about why it took them so long, right? This is number one.
That's what I want to know.
We've had other composites, and we've had questions about that people heard there was composite done. But when it was shown to witnesses, again, people here, people there in Los Angeles, people here in Harford County, they didn't feel that it was an accurate representation. So we weren't going to push something out that even our witnesses don't.
Yeah, I agree. He's probably liable to do something else. These people don't stop. In fact, a lot of these guys increase their issues.
Just because we have one doesn't that they don't have a high level of confidence.
Misty, the families have been frustrated. I'm sure law enforcement's frustrated as well. But 6 months later, finally getting a sketch.
Yeah, finally getting the sketch. And I mean, they don't want to get this wrong. It sounds like they waited until they had what they could create the most accurate.
I don't know why my computer's doing that.
Sketch. It's difficult, Dan, when you have these crimes in different jurisdictions to bring that together. But now there's the sketch. There's also a reward attached. So to the extent that somebody's seen this individual, they could be incentivized to come forward. And don't forget electronic footprint. Now this sketch is out there. Could he have been caught on some form of CCTV? Could there be video footage that somebody is in possession of that could now be sent to law enforcement? It's certainly a step in the right direction.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider.
So that's that on that one. I want to end on a good note. I'll keep an eye on that too. I've been keeping an eye on the Rachel Morin case too, for sure. I wanted to cover this one here. Give me a second. I want to go. Hold on a second. This was a case. Here it is. All right. So, like I said, I wanted to end on a good note here. So I came across this too this week. And this is coming out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. So I'll read this here. Let me pause this. And there's a video to go with it too. So this happened here. Like I said, this was Fort Wayne. And coroner reveals the identity of a Mary Jane Doe at the center of a 1992 cold case. So she was wrapped in a blanket in the flooded basement of a home on Fort Wayne's east side. The tragic story of a previously unidentified 20-something woman who was found unalive on May 15th, 1992, raised even more questions after investigators determined she was about 26 weeks pregnant when she was unalived. So that sucks too. 31 years, the Allen County Coroner's Office revealed the long-awaited answer. Who is Mary Jane Doe? So let's go to this video here. There might be an advertisement here, so hold on.
Found a woman deceased here in the 3500 block of Reynolds Street.
With the help of advanced technology, they were finally able to put a face to that name. Tabitha Ann Morin was found here in the 3500 block in a basement in 8 to 12 inches of water, somewhat 30 years ago in 1992. DNA was hard to extract at that time, but they're finally able to get some DNA from teeth and the femur bone that they were found from Tabitha. Now, after getting samples from her teeth, again, they were able to use that new technology and find a next of kin, her father, her brother, and her stepsister. Now, although they relieved they found their daughter, Tabitha's father had no idea what happened to his daughter or if he'd ever see her again.
She left for Memphis about 1986. And ever since then,
I mean, this just sucks, all this time. But, at least they got an answer, right? It just sucks to just one day be told out of the blue that we found somebody that might be your daughter, that is probably your daughter, and she's no longer alive. And that would suck.
I never heard from her. I was always thinking she was some guy got her or whatever. She broke up with that Travis guy. And then I thought maybe someone took her. I didn't know. Coroner came to my house. And they talked to me. And they told me that she passed away. And I couldn't believe it, but, I didn't believe she died, that cat. I thought she was still alive somewhere.
Now, the coroner's office says they are not sure at this time how Tabitha had died and that this investigation is still an open investigation. If anyone knows anything about this case or anything about Tabitha, they're asked to contact investigators and police.
Okay, so I'll play the press conference and then I'll get the hell out of here. Okay, so let me read. Allen County Coroner John Brandenberger said that that day in 1992, a construction worker renovating a home in the 3500 block of Reynolds Street found Morin in the basement. Her body was very badly decomposed, and at the time, the coroner's office thought she had been unalive since 1991 or 1992. The case eventually went cold, but efforts to solve her unaliving were renewed in 2016 when her case went into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. All right, so we'll watch this collaborated to confirm Merlin's name and genealogy. So this might have an advertisement too. Yep, that does suck for sure. Once this advertisement's over, I don't know why my computer's doing this just now, but it is what it is. Maybe it's telling me I've been on here too long. Played fine earlier for me, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Maybe not. All right, let's try it again.
On that day, on May 15th, 92, a construction worker who was doing some renovations in a house on rent.
I have no idea what's going on. Sorry, guys.
Do you have 5-piece bedroom sets to replace the 742-piece bedroom set that I'm taking back immediately?
Just.
All right.
Discovered on that day, on May 15th, 92, a construction worker who was doing some renovations in a house on Reynolds Street in the basement discovered a dead individual wrapped in a blanket and in 8 to 12 inches of water and very badly decomposed at that time. We thought that she probably had been dead late 90s or 91, or maybe even early 92. A partial autopsy was done at that time, what could be done, and no cause of death and no manner of death was able to be determined. And our Mary Jane Doe, your Tabitha, was buried in Lindenwood Cemetery on May 21st. The police developed leads.
I think it was 92. Not sure. I'm pretty sure it was 92.
But they soon grew cold.
Early in 92, though. All right, so that's that. This thing's not playing good for me, so. Must want me to get out of here. All right, well, I'm going to play my outro and get out of here. I want to thank everybody for braving the computer issues, the Google machine issues, and all the other issues. Thank you very much for coming in. Southern Gal, you're awesome. Thank you very much. If anybody hasn't seen Southern Girl channel, go see it. She's fantastic. Jocelyn's great too. Thank you, Jocelyn, for coming in. Steve was here, so that means he's checking up on me. That's good. I was here. Let's see here. Who else was here? Dean was here. I know Dean was here. Usually when my computer skips like that, they're checking to make sure I'm not playing stuff I'm not supposed to be playing. So we'll see how long this live lasts. But Honeybee was here. Honeybee is awesome. Honeybee, very, very good person. Let's see who else was here. Dean was here. Wonder where Karen Lee is. I haven't seen her for a while. Let's see who else. And I think that's it. If I missed anybody, sorry. But I think that's going to do it. All right. So, like I said, if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Everybody, I hope has a good week. And I'll see you guys later. I don't think I'm going to be coming on again tonight. I might come on again tomorrow night, but we'll see. But anyways, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate you guys. Everybody have a good week, and thank you very much.